Good morning, boys and girls, and today we have another story from Pete the Cat. This time we're going to talk about a community worker, which is a firefighter. So here, Pete turns into Firefighter Pete. This book is written by James Dean, and James Dean is the one that makes the drawings and writes the words. Get out of here, James. Well, let's begin. Pete the Cat, Firefighter Pete, by James Dean. We are going on a class trip today, says Principal Nancy. She leads the class to a bright yellow bus. Everyone climbs on board. I wonder where we are going, says Pete. That's a good question. They are going to visit the firehouse today. The bus parks next to the bright red firehouse. Pete and his classmates are excited. Cat Firehouse. The firehouse is huge. It's so big it can hold 2 long red fire trucks and all the firefighters' equipment. Now they're going to be wearing special clothing. So this is what they learn. The firefighters show the kids around. They give everyone a turn to ring the old brass fire bell outside the firehouse. Then all the kids take turns sliding down the firefighter's pole. Whee! Callie yells as she glides down. Very good experiences, and I have taken in the past many of my classes, and they really love visiting the firehouse. It's one of their favorites. The firefighters allow the kids to try on their gear. Firefighters wear a lot of equipment. First, Pete puts on the heavy black overalls. Then he steps into the tall black boots. So that's their special uniform. That's what they wear to protect themselves from fire. Okay? So Pete is trying it on. A firefighter helps Pete put on the heavy yellow jacket. Finally, they place the hard black helmet on Pete's head. All this gear is very heavy. Pete can barely move. And the reason why he can barely move is because everything is heavy. Heavy. So when they wear special clothes, our firefighters are wearing more things that are sometimes heavy and makes their body heavier to carry. The firefighters allow the kids to explore one of the fire trucks. Callie sits in the driver's seat. She presses the horn. Brrrr. It's so loud that all the kids cover their ears. Then Pete turns on the sirens and lights. The sirens blare, wee oo wee woo-wee woo-wee woo-wee, and the lights flash red and yellow. And the reason why they flash like that is for people who are driving to move over to the side because the firefighters are going to somewhere where there's a fire and they need to get there quickly. Suddenly, a loud bell rings in the firehouse. Uh-oh, it's the fire alarm. There's a fire in town. Gear up, Pete. The firefighters scrambled into their gear very quickly. Pete puts on his gear, too. They all climb aboard the fire truck and turn on the siren and lights. Firefighter Pete and the firefighters are on their way. And this is a real fire where they're going to go. Now, Pete is a very young character. So this is fiction, because if he was in the firehouse, he wouldn't be wearing all those clothes and going with them, because he would have to have a training. He should have been joining it and going to an academy and practicing and getting himself ready to be one of those firefighters and do their job. But in this story, it's a fiction. It's pretending that Pete can join them and help them with the fire. Woo-ee, woo-ee, woo-ee. The fire engine races through town and the lights flash around, round and round. A firefighter presses the horn. All the cars move out of the way. And it's very important that if you are a driver and you're driving a car and there's a siren that's making a noise, it's an emergency. It's move over, because either somebody is really, really sick and they're about to die and they need to save them, or they need you to get out of the way so they can get to somewhere where the house or the building is burning, and they need to help other people. There's the fire. It's hot and loud, but the firefighters know exactly what to do. They work together as a team to connect the fire truck to the fire hydrant. Then the firefighters also attach a long, heavy hose to the truck. Firefighters Pete gives the signal and the firefighters turn on the water. Whoosh! And that's how you start working together. And this is a fire hydrant. Okay? Do not park on the fire hydrants. You can get a ticket. And you always have to keep it open and available, because if there's a firefighter or a fire truck coming and they need water, they're going to look for the fire hydrant. That's the first thing they look for. The water gushes out very fast. Several firefighters must hold the hose to control it. Pete helps direct the hose as they spray the fire with water. The fire is starting to go out. There is smoke everywhere. Suddenly, Pete hears yelling from the roof. And can you guess who is that on the roof? Oh no! It's Grumpy Toad. He needs to be rescued. The firefighters raise a long ladder from the truck. Crank, crank, crank. The ladder goes up, up, and up. Firefighter Pete and another firefighter help Grumpy Toad climb down the ladder carefully. Yay! The fire is out and everyone is safe. And that is why you need to move out of the way when the fire truck is making noise and honking and making sirens, because there is a fire and they need to save somebody. In this case, it was Grumpy Toad. The firefighters drive back to the firehouse. They take off all their gear. They pat Pete on the back and say, "Good job, Pete. Firefighter Pete helped save the day." And Grumpy too. Grumpy Toad. The end. Well, I hope you like this story, because the story of Pete the Cat is one of those favorite ones of children. I've seen a lot of them on YouTube, and I hope that you continue to enjoy reading, because it makes you a better person. It makes you smarter. You learn a lot of things, and you can someday become your own author of your own books. Because smart is not something you are. Smart is something you get.